was banned from Whole Foods, no apologies. Until the arrival of officers of the Vancouver Police Department, VPD, everyone involved would have been either an employee of or an agent of Whole Foods, and therefore Whole Foods is vicariously liable for these actions. The false imprisonment, arrest, carried out by Whole Foods staff and agents was then unnecessarily continued by numerous members of the Vancouver Police Department, VPD. One attending officer further intimidatingly detained and battered me while I was cuffed and topless on the sidewalk in broad daylight. As employer of the 5 VPD officers on the scene, the City of Vancouver is vicariously liable for their poor-minded actions and blatant inactions to protect me. The constant jerking around without even knowing which way we were going was performed by the LPO as I was coming out the doors, and even more so by the Sergeant Glendinning, which was harshly disturbing my nervous system and triggering my arthritis, weakening my strength and ability to balance. Once I told the sergeant I had arthritis, she raised her brows. That was over here in the paddy wagon. Is paddy wagon this far over?
It's about right here, actually. That's right here.
So right here, guys, I was inside a wagon. Are you sure? No, because I could see you, so it was further here. It's cut off this corner here. Because you were there, and I could see you, so I was sitting right here. Inside the wagon. So, once I had told the sergeant I had arthritis because I was cuffed, and anyways, we'll carry on here. She raised her brows and backed away from me immediately and handed me over to another officer. Why would she do that? If she wasn't aware of how forcefully aggressive she was being, why did she back away when I said I had arthritis and raise her eyebrows? She switched herself out. The false VPD, but she lorded over as well. She watched over the other constable. The false VPD report insinuates my toplessness was as if I was running around topless in the store, hugging people. But it was the battery by LPO at the exit doors on the sidewalk when cuffing me, which caused my damage to my sleeve jumpsuit, ripping the sides that held up the front of it. False arrest was continued by the lovely VPD. Ladies and gentlemen, the arrival of VPD on their report states I was sitting up when they arrived. Not so. When VPD officers did arrive on the scene, they had two police cars and a caddy for me. This was before masks were mandatory. Please understand even that. Okay? I hugged someone. I was attempting to calm people down. When the VPD officers did arrive on the scene, my custody transferred to them from the Whole Foods agents, and I was found lying face down on the concrete. I'm gonna just... I was lying face down here. Right about here? Yeah, right before the bikes there. Face down. I was lying face down on the concrete, cuffed, and with my breasts naked to the pavement. Despite this fact, when they arrived, I was not covered up or shown a basic measure of care, decency, or respect. Not one officer checked in with me as to how I was or what had happened. Not one officer asked my husband. In fact, they further terrorized us as they separated my husband from me, while Sergeant answered to my pleas to have my husband stay with me. Yes, he can stay with you. The sergeant was saying that to me. They fully removed my husband to be against the wall at the corner over there. And 2 officers stood on either side of him, detaining him from being anywhere near me. One officer was attempting to convince my husband I am psychotic and need a visit to the hospital, saying that my husband was not an expert and only a professional can diagnose me. I had this purse on me that day too. And that I was behaving not normal. My husband had to continuously reaffirm he has known me almost 20 years and I am of sound mind. I was talked down to the whole way through. Leishman states in the report I was arguing with him. I was in devastation, asking him to come down to my level or bring me up to his, because I was sitting like this, topless. Like, something like this. Didn't I look something like that? So I was asking him can you come down to my level or bring me up to his? I could barely talk. I was just like shaking like a leaf. I couldn't hear him. The way he was talking to me was scaring me. I was shaking like a leaf and I could not hear his words. You hear how noisy it is now, right? He called that interrupting him on the police report because he ignored what I said and repeated himself. And I asked again. The sergeant was also towering over me in a way that she was obviously avoiding me from seeing her face. She was like here, but I could see her legs and feel her presence. And then in front, he was standing in front of me here. I was eventually able to look the sergeant in the eyes at the paddy wagon when I asked her if she had children. She coldly, dismissively said, yes. I said, me too. I have 2 daughters. Cold-heartedly, she pushed me in. On the report, she calls me POS EDP. Possibly, do you know what that means? Emotionally disturbed person, EDP. She also states in her personal notes that I was uncooperative and erratic. Erratic, well, I am fairly unpredictable, but not in a violent or abusive way, and yet the whole time I was cuffed and not fighting anyone. As they arrived and found me lying on the ground, I was aggressively told to sit up by Leishman and the sergeant as they towered over me, which was very difficult given that I was already hurting, scared, and cuffed. I was not provided any covering, although one officer closed my vest. When she patted me at the search, I requested, because the sergeant, I requested to get searched, okay? Because the sergeant was accusing me and stated I was being taken in for shoplifting halfway into my time with her, and she hadn't even searched me. No one offered to simply pull my outfit back up except when a passerby complained at the indecency at the sight of me being topless. At that point, the sergeant put gloves on, knelt before myself. Without looking at my face, she stated, okay, she was like this, in front of me. She's like, put gloves on, okay. Okay? No. Come down. La. She took a deep breath and looked for how to pull up the velvet top. She stuck her fingers into my top and did so half-heartedly, only to have it fall down moments later by the time I was standing over here being searched. So before I move, I just want to do this, okay? This is just going to be great. From this position, after being battered and pushed down to the ground and crying, I was told, sit up, by 2 cops. One of them was a sergeant, one is a constable. I was told to sit up from this position, right here, on this sidewalk, right here, for hugging someone. Did I walk?
Yeah.
Just a minute. Did you get that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It's recording.
Everything that happened to me after I was falsely imprisoned and arrested by the Whole Foods agents was an attack on my persona in public. shaming me in a way that the crowd believed I was sinfully a criminal and deserving of harm. Anytime I was held beyond this constitutes false arrest by VPD. I was crying out to the half-mass socially gathered crowd for help, telling them what happened, telling them what was happening, begging for someone to film this as it was unlawful. They did not. They stared and they glared at me. The fraudulent police report is absolutely damning, aimed by the VPD and Whole Foods towards my true character. Police know this is perjury. Why would they lie? Why would the department ignore me? Why refuse me a fair hearing out? Why would they refuse to take a look at the footage from just before their arrival? And why would VPD, the city, the mayor, the property management be ghosting my husband and myself? I have no mental health records or any run-in with police. We are incredibly invaluable citizens, valuable citizens. I have done no harm to anyone. In fact, we are people helpers. We are peaceful. I had done nothing illegal or unlawful. The false police statement, the report mentions nothing of any of the lack of protocol, unlawfulness, or brutal actions made by VPD or Whole Food agents. I recall at least 5 officers being on site, with 3 of them harboring incredible menace towards me. The ongoing intimidation was frightening. Constable Leishman stood over me with the sergeant on their arrival. He wrote the false VPD report. Cole, who guarded my husband to stay against the wall, attempted to convince my husband I was mentally ill. Spencer Tam was present, patted me down at my request. She added my top. She adjusted my top at my request inside the paddy wagon, and she loosened the horrible clench that Sergeant had done to my wrist. And the police report was submitted by Graham, along with Sergeant Glendinning. They're all recorded as being on site. Kayla Ryan cleared the report. No one called us. No one's called us. Funny enough, Leishman made personal handwritten notes stating I was clear and warm. Report states my husband refused to give his name. He was never once asked. Were you?
No, I was never asked.
Never. Jade Spencer Tam, who attended to me after Sergeant backed off from me, made personal notes that are true. Statements I said near her, to her, and how I was behaving are all true to the incident. Sergeant was completely psychotic in mannerisms towards me. She behaved manipulative and intimidating without reason. For instance, battery by Sergeant Glendinning. Way before I was moved into the paddy wagon, I was grabbed by my arm and forcefully yanked off the ground by female Sergeant Glendinning, causing myself to whimper in pain, to which the sergeant whispered in my ear, "What? You wanted to be on my level?" Sergeant Glendinning informed me that I was being arrested for shoplifting, to which I replied shockingly, "Shoplifting? Search me." Sergeant instantly tightened the right handcuff, dug her arm into my back, enough to dislocate my rib, and held my palm in one grip towards my forearm, folding my wrist over the tightened cuff while pushing me around to the police car for search, and then towards the paddy wagon. It was completely unnecessary for Sergeant Glendinning to use this amount of force in carrying out her legitimate police duties. Therefore, there is no defense for the battery committed against myself. While I was sitting in the paddy wagon, my wrists were in pain. I could feel, this is my home! I could feel my circulation at risk from the tightness of the cuffs and how my whole body had just been erratically maneuvered. This is a lot of people's homes! My whole body, don't. how my whole body had just been erratically maneuvered by the LPO and the Sergeant Glendinning as I was being jerked. 0.1% infection rate! Surrounded by fucking masks here. I asked Sergeant Glendinning to loosen the cuffs because my wrists were in excruciating pain. The sergeant replying by telling me to turn around and get on my knees. I requested help to get out of the paddy wagon, to have the cuffs adjusted since I have arthritis. And I didn't think I had the strength or the space to turn around in such a small compartment. Sergeant Glendinning quickly turned me over to Constable Spencer Tam, who loosened the cuffs. And at my request to her, for the first time, my clothing was adjusted properly so that I was no longer exposed. I noticed the sergeant later on that week on social media as Sergeant Glendinning. Because I follow VPD on Twitter, we have an amicable relationship. I noticed Sandra tweeted to VPD about how she did a house visit and took someone to get mental health checked, as if she were putting them in a better place. I questioned if it was the psych ward. Psych ward? That's all I said. And quickly realized exactly who I was talking to. And she realized who I was, commenting as well. Who was commenting? She knows who was commenting as well, for she blocked me for a few hours. She left my comment up without response. She was also in a VPD promo video on Canada Day. This further scared me of whether I could speak with the VPD for help or not. I braved it anyhow for the fear of this terrible report on me. Bullying me and my family's safety was bad. Cops visit us twice that week afterwards for noise complaints. They arrive at the door knocking when following up on a call for concern because they have master keys to any building. Any building. They were kind. They were calm. They were reasonable and all good, thank goodness. I was informed the situation shows officers want to put me away and are just waiting for another opportunity for me to crack under the pressure of their abuse and lies, on top of all the stresses occurring in our city. Let's go this way. I am not the first to have this bad treatment. It's known. Take a look at that. It is a known, recognizable pattern. I didn't know that. You can't see it unless you feel it, unless you know it. I can see why it never gets addressed and bad cops go scot-free, completely unchecked. Fortunately, I focus on being calm. That is my professional healing massage practice since 1986. Fortunately, I'm an immeasurably solution-oriented, and I have had encouragement from the authorities to be strong, to focus, and I'm eternally eternally grateful for the good people who do actually exist here within many structures of our city. Here's the healing garden of our city. Right there, healing garden. Come, the healing garden. Gregor Robertson made this. Our mayor that they stole. Healing garden. Bruising, this is public.
I know.
Bruising and painful injury, damage to my body, including wrists, arms, back muscles in alignment, mental distress. My doctor saw me and made a report. My RMT saw me, found a whole lot of damage and had to adjust my ribs even. I enclosed photographs in the email. This is a hard copy of letter. You're going to have to look at the email. Taken in the day of following the incident. Showing bruising to my wrists from the cuffs and bruising to my upper arms in distinct finger marks. Finger marks from her jerking me up off the ground. The upper arm bruises are from being grabbed up off the ground by Sergeant Glendinning. The bruising to my wrists was jointly caused by the LPO and Sergeant Glendinning VPD. The sergeant and the city make her out to be such a kind, caring, powerful heroine on social media. How strange for police to behave like phony celebrities public thinks they can rely on and trust. I have been having aggravated, painful weakness in my forearms and in my wrists. With unrelenting back discomfort and tension affecting my balance, my work, and my strength. I have been suffering extreme inflammation since the incident. Although conditions have improved somewhat, neither is resolved. My osteoarthritis has been extremely well managed by myself. But this incident set me back tremendously and has affected my ability to write, to lift, to lean on my hands, and perform my massage work properly. I continue to heal and strengthen myself. Not only was I left in handcuffs, but I was pushed into the VPD paddy wagon, which was terrifying. I did nothing to justify my arrest. The abusive psychological treatment was immoral. I thought, now they want to take me away to do what? What an insult from the city, VPD, security, and Whole Foods. The report states I refused to give my legal name, even though I'd given my name that I go by on a daily basis. The wagon was running the whole time. And at one point, a red light came on in the dark, flashing into my eyes. But mostly I was in pitch black without any air on a very hot summer day. And I couldn't hear anyone. Don't I go in that door?
We're gonna go around.
Okay, yeah. And they could not hear me. The door opened and closed several times. Each time I thought we were heading to the station. They attempted to read me my rights, told me I was being chartered. I was very scared. I didn't even know what chartered meant. Sobbing quietly, I was in pain. I was asked from outside to inside the wagon, small gap, to give my name when the door opened a crack by the sergeant. I whimpered in defeat. Do I have to? I was really afraid to have my identity traced by those who might hurt me for the rest of my life, but actually willing because I did not want to be lost from my husband, whom Constable Jade and the sergeant told me I would not be able to call. She did not even give me 1 second chance. She abruptly went to my husband for my legal name. I didn't even have a purse on me. I don't even have a cell phone. I had not even a purse or a jacket or any items on me. My purse was never searched by LPO or officers. My husband was holding it. The LPO checked that. Shows it in the video. I was never released from the handcuffs placed on me by the LPO, and I was not free to leave at any time. I remained under arrest while the matter was eventually investigated in the store by the VPD. Given that the report states the VPD was called to scene for assault disturbance, I thought perhaps it's reasonable that I was held for a short period if the VPD believed I had committed an indictable offense. However, it should have become quickly apparent to the attending VPD officers by reviewing surveillance tapes in Whole Foods that there was no basis for holding me for assault. I was informed on the scene that surveillance cameras captured the events. I was released because I had done nothing illegal. They could not see that from the tapes. No apologies from anyone. No one informed me of the damning lies they would post, or of the mental health unit review they have on me, or of the firearms interest I now have become to VPD based on lies. Are they serious? Why? So sure they would not have to answer for their abuse, deceit, or current unjust threats on my life and at this time. This is recognizably political imprisonment into psych ward maneuvers. Really, Vancouver City Board Council? What do you have to say for yourselves? Ironically, on social media, I was cheering on VPD all that week while Antifa screamed to not only defund them, but to harm them. Antifa have been screaming and terrorizing neighborhoods in the name of police brutality that week, but not one abuser or observer stopped to help, question, or protect me from harm. It is as if the police wanted to be defunded. What time are we at?
We have like 4 minutes. That's why I want to get
I have
on.
never witnessed or experienced this ill behavior from VPD previously. I have an amicable relationship with VPD since the early 90s. Now hearing all this, doesn't it make you concerned for all of Vancouver's citizens and what other lies and abuse are being performed? By the evildoers working in VPD uniform? You really want our city run like this? This is running us into the ground as a society. We do not have to do this, Armageddon. Flip the script. Can you believe that there is much more details to this story? Perhaps more significantly, I've been traumatized by these events and feeling particularly stressed and anxious since. Though generally I respect the work of the VPD, I'm shocked at how badly I was treated with absolutely no basis in this instance. I request a mature, diplomatic, honest, transparent discussion to resolve this matter amongst us. I'm appalled by how unfairly and aggressively I was treated on June 7th, 2020. I am extremely concerned that I'm still being ignored to settle and sort this. No citizen of Vancouver deserves this type of treatment. This is worldwide inhumane behavior of all involved with abusing my safety, my rights, and the universal laws of truth and justice. Are these merely the Queen's orders? Or are these just bad cops and helpless bystander cops? But what excuse does Whole Foods have for their irrational hatred towards me? The false imprisonment, arrest, and battery by Whole Foods and the VPD not only caused physical, emotional injury that has affected my life, but was completely offensive. However, I do not wish to get involved in a drawn-out dispute and would prefer to focus on my own wellness. As such, I send this letter to open up a discussion to resolve this matter in a reasonable and expeditious way. I welcome you to contact me at your earliest convenience for making this right. And I have sent this email yesterday, October 7th. I am willing to work this out, but do not even think of attacking me further or disappearing me, for I have eyes protecting me from high places. Remember to send me the surveillance footage as soon as you get this message. Get on it, since there's not much of a window to send it to me at your own accord now. Could become another trumped up charge for you if you miss the window, as some of your staff has already refused to directly assist me. If you do not comply, know and understand that this is already under criminal investigation and will further add to your public record and charges if you do not cooperate with the law and order. I honor the threat your position and employees are responsible for making and ignoring. Make it right with me. In sublime goodness, sincerely, Venus Desjardins, with my own phone number, my own address, for they have it anyways. I gotta go here.
Well, it's the only mail slot, unless they open the door.
Oh, gotta give it to the other guy?
Yeah, I think we gotta give it to the other guy.
What, are you sure about that? Did you try?
No, I didn't check.
You can buzz.
Okay.
You buzz like this.
Okay.
Give me the letter that's in there. I need the stickers. There's stickers in there. And the stickers. Are you still filming? This is to Kennedy. Break the curses to Mayor Kennedy. So nice little letter there. Beautiful arts and crafts I got going on. Oh. Hey, I just need to stick it shut. This is my normal sticker. Do I have a minute to just stick this shut? I might have an envelope. I have to just stick a sticker on it.
Okay, and you are giving, it's a mail, am I correct?
Yeah, it's
you
for...
can put it right there.
Oh,
in the
you
mail
don't
slot.
have to give it
No.
to him. And for the mayor, I just put it in there.
Everything,
And then, okay, city clerk, mayor, all of it.
everything, yeah.
Perfect.
All
Thank
good?
you so much.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
too. Great. Oh, I'm just gonna put this down because guess what? You can send a letter any time of day now, I guess.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Just gonna shut it. My little stickers here. We're not gonna need to shut it like this. I think it's too easy to open for people to open. Like, oh, shut it.
You need to put a bigger one. Yes.
Put a bigger one. Oh, shit. It's easy to open, see? That's okay. I don't want them to... They probably won't rip it, right? Well, is what it is.
All right.
What are you doing?
Oh, we're just putting some stickers on to put it in the mail slot.
Oh, okay. No
Is that all
worries. I
good?
wasn't quite sure why you were on your knees there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
A medical need or something.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, no,
I
no.
just sticking my letter shut with the right
Oh.
sticker to
As long as
fit.
you're all right, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you. So,
Just
because-
checking if I'm passing out with
Yeah.
COVID at the door or what.
yeah, exactly. Making sure you're healthy and okay.
There, it's sealed.
Good.
And I got a letter to the mayor, and I got a letter for the clerk. Everybody, see, witness. And it already went in the email twice. I actually sent it twice. Thank you.